Hey everyone, Justin and Jesse Klein here with the Klein Real Estate team. And today we are going to teach you how to take advantage of every single incentive that the government offers for you as a first time home buyer. And there's a lot.
Yeah, surprisingly large amount.
So we'll just start off with an example to show you how good these benefits can be. So let's say you and your spouse decide you want to purchase your first home and you just start looking into the incentives today. Up to this point, you haven't been using any of the government's incentives or planning programs. So let's say after taking a look at these incentives, you go out and purchase a home a few months later. Let's say this home here, purchase it for $500,000, a nice assignment deal, brand new one-bed apartment in Port Moody. Here's the breakdown of how the government helped get you into this home. So the purchase price was $500,000 plus GST, so total came to $525,000. What you contributed was a down payment of 7%, so just over $35,000, and a mortgage of $420,000. What the government contributed was helping you get a down payment of 13% on top of that to get you to that 20%, which is $67,000. They covered your property transfer tax of $8,000. That's a fee that you would have had to pay that's completely gone. And then the next year they gave you a $10,000 tax credit, which got you $1,500 off on your next tax bill. In summary, the government saved you $8,000 in fees, and at a 5% interest rate, the $67,000 the government helped you get for that down payment saved you roughly $390 a month in payments, which is over $15,000 in interest over that first 5-year period. Let's break down how this happened and what the rules are so you can qualify for each of these first-time home buyer benefits.
So we have our property transfer tax exemption, which is on homes up to $500,000 in BC for first-time home buyers. And to qualify for this, you can't have owned a property anywhere in the world. I don't really know how they track that, but you have to declare it. From $500,000 to $525,000, it's graduated. So at $500,000 if you hit that number exactly, you're going to save $8,000 in property transfer tax. And then that amount slowly reduces your savings until at $525,000, you're paying the full 1% on the first $200,000 and 2% after that for property transfer tax. Next up, we have our home buyers plan, which is a tool you can use with your RRSP. You can contribute up to $35,000 per person into your RRSP. And of course, with RRSPs, you don't have to pay any income tax on the amount that goes in. And then what happens is you're allowed to withdraw up to $35,000 per person and put that towards your down payment for your purchase. And then that amount you slowly have to repay into your RRSP over the next 15 years. And you do have to pay taxes on that amount that you're paying back in. So the minimum each year is the amount that you took out divided by 15 for repayment. You can only access the money 90 days after you put it in. Sorry, it has to be 90 days afterwards. So if you are planning on buying a home, make sure you plan ahead 90 days before your closing date. If you don't know how RSPs works, the overview is that you're allowed to take 18% of your annual income and contribute that each year into your RSP. You don't have to contribute it the year that you earn it. You can stack it for 4 years, and that amount is good up to $150,000 of income. So let's say you make $100,000, you're allowed to contribute $18,000 into your RSP that year and not get taxed on that amount. If you make $150,000, then it's 18% of $150K, and then after that, it stops going up. So to max out your home buyer plan, you would need to make $195,000. Now you couldn't do that all in 1 year. It'd have to be spread out over at least 2 years, $150,000 in 1 year and whatever in the next year. And then 18% of that would be your $35,000 RSP contribution, which would be your max towards the home buyer plan.
The next one is the first time home buyers incentive. The government will give you 5% of the purchase price of your home, or 10% if it's new construction. And all you have to do is when you go and resell that home, let's say it's in 5 years, you have to give them 10% of the sale price. Now, some people may think, I don't want to have to give 10% of the sale price and my earnings if my home went up a lot. Well, think of it as you wouldn't have got that 10% if the government didn't help you in the first place. So it really makes no difference. Actually, it's a huge benefit because your mortgage payments are going to be far lower based on being able to put more money into your home and having a smaller mortgage. Like we said before, the $67,000 the government helped with the down payment, that was $390 a month in payments that you didn't have to make.
Yeah, so the government's basically taking an equity stake in your home. You get to live in a nicer home without having to put any money down extra or pay any extra monthly. So basically get to live in a nicer home on the government's dime.
Yep. And they do cap that out at 8% a year. So if your home went up 15% a year, you would be making more than the government's making.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, good luck. To give you a quick example to help illustrate this, imagine you bought an apartment for $495,000 in January of 2017, and you received 5% from the government, so just under $25,000 for the down payment. Then you sold it in December 2022 for $685,000. You would now owe the government $34,000 back. But what's great about this is that you got to live in a house that was $24,000 greater than your budget. You didn't have to pay a mortgage on that $24,000, and all you had to do was pay the government back the same appreciation that you got. The limitations on this is you have to buy a house that's less than 4.5 times your income plus your down payment. So the maximum in Metro Vancouver is $722,000 based on the fact that your household income has to be less than $150,000 as well.
So this is a new incentive from the government. And if you're not planning on buying a home for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, this is the one for you. This is awesome. It's called the First Home Savings Account, and it's separate from your RSP and your TFSA. You get a credit on your taxes or a deduction against your income when you contribute to this account. So you don't have to pay income tax on the amount that you contribute. And you can contribute up to $8,000 per person per year until the account maxes out at $40,000 per person. So you could potentially, if you had this account for 5 years, you contributed $8,000 per year per person. You don't have to pay taxes on that amount. You'd have $40,000 per person in the account after 5 years, and then you could take that and put it towards your purchase, and the account stays good for that remaining 10 years after that first 5 years, so 15 years from when you first start. Now, the thing is, the amount each year, that $8,000, starts accruing not based on when you contribute, but as soon as you open the account. So you should go right now, today, and open this account, because even if you're not making enough money to contribute to it right now, let's say that you make a whole bunch of money in the future, or your parents decide to give you money or something like that, you then have this contribution room that you've been stacking for years and years, and you can contribute it even if you haven't been contributing in the years prior. So go open that today. Your future self just might thank you.
All right, so our second last benefit is the home buyer's amount. This is just a great little added nugget. The government lets you file a $10,000 tax deduction on your next tax return. Now that maxes out at $1,500, but that's $1,500 that you're going to get back.
Depending on the tax bracket you're in, you save up to $1,500.
Exactly.
So if you're in a 50% tax bracket, they're not going to let you take off $55,000 from the 10,000. It's only a max of $1,500, which is like a 15% tax bracket. So not huge, but helpful. All right. So now for the worst incentive of the bunch, the GST new housing rebate. If you are buying a home for under $350,000, please let me know if you find one of those brand new. You do not have to pay GST. Well, you do have to pay it, but the government gives you a rebate. They give you like 36% of the 5% GST back. And that's graduated up to $450,000 purchase price. Anyways, a little bit complicated. Nobody really buys homes cheap enough to take advantage of that unless you're in a small city or town in BC. But doesn't really exist in the Lower Mainland. Feel free to reach out for any specifics about these programs. We can help you understand how it might apply to your situation. But of course, these are very, very complicated government programs. We tried to give you guys an overview and our understanding of the policies, but I'm sure we got some stuff wrong. Definitely talk to an accountant and a lawyer to see how this applies to you specifically and how they interpret the policies. Because again, it is really, really complicated. This is just kind of introduction, just to give you an idea and a broad overview of how the programs work.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy watching our videos, and we'll see you next time.